In today's business update, we'll be talking about the four tech giants, meaning you have Apple, Google, Amazon, and Facebook, who's in hot waters with regards to the antitrust that the government is, levying upon them. And there's good news if you're a consumer, wherein there be policies or laws in place to break up those companies to stop them from even growing at a substantial rate, meaning making competition non-existent, so to speak. So we'll take a dive on that topic. Next, we have Amazon. One of the tech giants I was just mentioning earlier. You'll be find you'll find that their peculiar way of dealing with unsold products. In this case, by not just selling them or reselling them, but they would go to the point of destroying it rather than making a profit out of it. Why is that? We'll take a look at that also. Then next, the rumor regarding the Windows 11 OS that was rumored, that was leaked recently. Well, now it's official. So there is an official Windows 11 that's going to be released. And the requirements are going to demand more from your PC rather than what it used to. So we'll take a look at that and how's that going to affect you as a user at the end of the day. And finally, we have Walmart. The retail giant is using AI to improve their interaction with their customers with regards to using AI technology to improve the online grocery experience of their buyers. Anyway, so to start off, as I mentioned, so according to the article here, we have TheVerge.com. It states that the big tech edges closer to being broken up or to break up after a deeply unhinged markup. Now, obviously, being dominant in their respective markets has enabled them to monopolize and generate a substantial revenue. Now, obviously, it's not just in the United States that the issue has been persistent, also in other areas like in regions in the United the EU, European Union, not United, the EU, European Union, were in their practices of trying to leverage their market position as the number one in their respective fields. Now, that may seem unfair if you look at it from the outside, but obviously as a company, it's their prerogative to leverage what they have and what they continue to have so that they can, prosper in the near future, next decade, or even the next century. Anyway, so this has started way back almost 2 years before. So let's see here. So it all started 2 years before when investigations started when the House Judiciary Committee wanted to push forward a package of bills. So it's not just one, multiple. We'll deep dig deep into that, targeting the power vacuum, not the power vacuum, but the power that those tech companies hold on the marketplace. So namely Amazon, Facebook, and you have Google as well as what do you call this? Uh, did I say it right? Walmart. Is it Walmart? Or was it? Yeah, Apple is one of the other companies. Anyway, so there are six bills all in all that will target in terms of delaying or maybe stopping their chance of growing or gaining significant more power in terms of acquiring companies or how government will treat them as a separate entity rather than just one big company as a whole here. So let's take a closer look. So what does those bill include? So we'll go to it one by one. So first you have the Merger Filing Fee Modernization Act. So this will pertains if any companies, those companies and other companies who plans to merge, they will have a substantial filing fee for for merging here. Now whether that's approved or not, they still have to pay a substantial fee here. So that I don't know if that would sway those companies from merging, unless if they deem that it's unnatural, or maybe they have to be separate in terms of business entity, so to speak. Second, you have the State Antitrust Enforcement Venue Act. So this will make sure that state attorneys general who file federal antitrust cases against a company, like those four tech giants as mentioned, will be able to have the case heard in the court they select. So it would not be just a case that anyone could levy, and it would not just be beneficial for those companies, but for the federal or attorney general who's going to file the case with regards to the tech giants here. Another here, the third one we have is the Access Act. This pertains to the standards of data portability and interoperability. Now, obviously, making it easier for transfer for or make it easier for American companies to transfer user data to Chinese companies. I don't know how that's beneficial, but that's what the act says. Anyway, so then they have the fourth one. This pertains to the Platform Competition and Opportunity Act. So this measure pertains to ensuring that this would hopefully stop or bar large tech company platform from buying or up nascent competitors. So meaning either vertical integration or downward integration in terms of making sense of growing their business by acquiring business who would compete with them or potentially compete them in the future. So think of it like when Facebook acquired Instagram, something like that, or Google when they acquired YouTube. Obviously, it makes sense for them to buy those companies, especially social media platforms that integrates well to their, let's say, if you're Google, so it gives more clout to use their search engine and so forth. Fifth, we have the American Choice and Innovation Act. So this pertains to non-discrimination measure that bars companies like Google giving preference to their own products and their own services. Now, obviously, Google has been uh, caught with this one. It's not just Google. You have Facebook. You also have Apple. Obviously, preferring their own platforms. If there are other competitors who's trying to use their platform, they won't say be barred from using it, but they would not be the priority. Obviously, if the algorithm is going to say or make sure that Apple services will be prioritized over the others, that's not fair. That would be unfair. And other companies, or not just companies, other countries have sought to it, complaining with what those companies are doing currently. And finally, they have the last one, the Ending Platform Monopolies Act. So ending platform. So I think it's obvious here. So obviously ensuring that large companies like Amazon, Google, and so forth, they have to sell off their different lines of business. So they cannot just be one big conglomerate here. So if it's Apple services, Apple products, or different branches, so they cannot be just merged into one big giant company. Obviously, if they're just one giant company, they're going to leverage their technologies, their partnership with one another to improve their standing in the market. And obviously, this would not be fair if other companies, let's say, would like to compete with them. So it's not just Apple. You have Amazon, even Google, competing with platforms using different search engines here. I think Microsoft's been trying to compete with Google search engine, but being is still lagging behind. So hopefully all of this acts would not necessarily negate but limit the growth of those big tech giants. But we still have to wait and see how this pans out in terms of will this be beneficial for the end user at the end of the day, or will it be not? So we have to wait and see. Anyway, so according to the article here, so what will happen next year? So obviously there's still concerns regarding the effectiveness of those bills going to be, and whether will it limit or stop the growth of those tech giants. Obviously those tech giants will always find a way, a loophole, to obviously to dominate their market still with their large financial resources and human capital, being able to leverage it, especially if they're the first in the market to to advance. So obviously other competitors will always be lagging behind. That's why it's up to the government to level up the playing field so everyone can play in the same market. Well, obviously not at the same level as they are, but still. Now the question is, when will those bills be introduced? So will it be within this year or a few years time? And if it's going to be introduced, should it be sooner rather than later? If they're trying to limit or stop the growth of those companies, tech giants that we just mentioned here. Anyway, we'll keep you updated with regards to this development. I'm interested to see how it pans out for those companies. Anyway, next we have one of those tech giants is in hot water. So there was an expose. I think it was in the British news, yeah, in ITV, wherein an Amazon warehouse. So this is the article according to Business Insider, where they mention they found out that Amazon warehouse destroys nearly 130,000 units per week. So it's not per day, per week. So you can just imagine the trash that they accumulate over the course of a year, hundreds of thousands to millions of units per year. So it includes a variety of Apple products, COVID-19 masks, television, just to name a few. So some of them new, some of them are unused, according to the article. So let's see here. Yes, and as mentioned here, my question here is, why do you think Amazon would destroy such products or unused products or unsold products? Wouldn't it be better to just resell them in the marketplace? Anyway, so this got the attention of the British news outlets, I mentioned the ITV. So there were undercover footage showing inside Amazon's warehouse, somewhere in Scotland, Dunfermline. If I'm pronouncing it correctly. Anyway, it shows different products. You have laptops, TVs, jewelries, headphones, books, face masks, and many more that are marked for destroy. So meaning this is not by chance that the company is doing, or is it an isolated incident? It's an actual company strategy that they have to destroy those products. Now, whether it be because they're trying to reach a certain quota in terms of sales, to inflate their numbers and so forth, at the expense of wasting good working products that you can still sell in the market. Anyway, there was an anonymous former Amazon employee that mentions that the warehouse were given a weekly quota of 130,000 items to destroy. And this is based on an internal memo. So it's kind of scary, and not necessarily scary, but wasteful if you think about it. And it mentions also in the same week that only a small portion, less than 30,000 products were marked for donate. Why not just donate all of it rather than just throw it away, right? I think they would have done a better CSR if they were to think about it. And it's kind of surprising. Either they're, as I mentioned, they're trying to inflate the numbers in terms of generating sales in their particular location, in a particular warehouse. So just they be able to maintain their quota. That's why they have to dump all of those items that was not sold. Otherwise, it would reflect in their numbers, so to speak. So it would not look good in terms of being productive, efficient, and generating the revenue that they expect for each location. So all in all, it totals to more than 6 million products destroyed every year. So you could just imagine those products could have been donated, and a lot other people could have benefited from them by just giving it away. Anyway, so in 2019, it mentions undercover reporters in France found that Amazon destroyed in over 3 million products in a particular year. So it's not an isolated incident, not just in Scotland, but also in France. So meaning it's a trend that I'm assuming this is common practice in other areas as well. And the question is why? And why is it that the company Amazon, who generates millions and billions of dollars of revenue, is willing to throw out good working, still good condition products, brand new, some of it still. Now, according to the Amazon spokesperson here, they said that the landfill site mentioned by the ITV was a recycling center. So meaning you're going to recycle good working products, which is sounds kind of iffy. But either way, there must be a bigger reason here. Why are they willing to waste so many items just to be able to, I don't know, meet a quota of sorts? That's my hunch, but I could be wrong. Anyway, now according to the spokesperson here, he mentions that, or they mentioned that we are working towards a goal of zero product disposal, and our priority is to resell, donate to charitable organizations. Well, that has been in contrary to what the the ITV reported with regards to destroying, instead of just donating it to charitable organizations, or recycle any unsold products, which is kind of interesting. So a lot of unsold products are in their warehouses, and this is what they do. And then they mentioned also no items are sent to landfill in the UK. And as a last resort, we will send items to energy recovery, but we're working hard to drive the number of times this happens down to zero now. It's a difficult task because obviously with smartphone devices, can you truly recycle all of those products? It's not that easy because it involves complex uh, materials, products. So it takes a very laborious and very cost intensive if you want to recycle all of it. But either way, according to the UK warehouse, they've witnessed unsold product being placed in so-called destruction zones. So meaning there is a concerted effort to destroy them rather than do good with them, even though they could just give it away or donate it away. So why would they do that? There must be an ulterior motive than they're showing here. And if it were not for the investigation by the BBC crew, or is it BBC crew? Let me go back. Yeah, British News, not BBC crew. So it could be anyone. So we have to wait and see what Amazon does here, or would they cover it up, do some PR stunt, and so forth. Anyway, next we have, as I mentioned, I think we discussed it last week only regarding the leak rumors of the possible release of latest version of Windows OS, which is Windows 11. And lo and behold, so the actual announcement, they mentioned they're going to release the latest version of Windows 11. Now, obviously, I'm okay for improve if there's going to be improvement, a latest iteration of their OS, which has been in the market, I think, for almost a decade also. So, I mean, Windows 10 is not bad compared to the scrap Windows 9 version. So, question is, how is it going to affect everyday user here in terms of, do you have to buy the OS, or do you just simply upgrade it like what was done previously here? And is there going to be a significant upgrade in terms of visual presentation, interaction with the UI itself, or is it just going to be totally different? So we have to get used to again. Anyway, so obviously the new interface is their selling point here, and one of their key points here is to be able to run Android apps. Now, obviously, uh, Google's Android or even Apple's iOS is very popular nowadays. Now, if you can integrate it in your desktop PC, then that would be tremendous, right? So I think it made sense for Microsoft to find a way to incorporate, Android apps in their desktop. Actually, in my case, if I had to run Android apps, I had to use a third party. What was the app that I was using? Let's see here. I forgot what was the app there. Let's see. I think it was BlueStack that I had to use. So I had to install it in desktop so that I could, use other apps in my desktop here. Anyway, so as I mentioned here, let's take a closer look. Where was it? So here, as I mentioned, so obviously the redesign of the Windows 11 is supposed to increase or for better productivity, social interaction, and entertainment features, which is, I think, everyone would like to see a new twist or improvement here. And obviously improvements in terms of animation, sounds, the design, all have been optimized for more a fluidic experience here, which is good and all, as long as at the end of the day, it has to be stable. The OS has to be stable rather than crash all the time, which in previous versions tends to happen. So hopefully that tends to happen less and less over with their newer iterations. Anyway, according to Microsoft, it wants to encourage focus more on the e-commerce aspects. Open of no, not e-commerce. Open of commerce, meaning being able to download apps to be purchased within the Windows store. So that could generate them billions of dollars here, similar to how Google or even Apple charges 30% for the app that every person that charges, it goes straight to Apple 30% automatically. Anyway, so here are some of the system requirements that you need to take note of. So let's Browse here. Yeah, there you go. So first here is, I think this is an important one. So you're going to be required to have a 64-bit processor moving forward. So it's not going to be able to run 32-bit processors. So meaning it has to use next gen processors now. But that doesn't mean it won't run 32-bit. So never worry about it. But it only pertains to running the processor has to be 64-bit. Now next is obviously 1 gigahertz clock speed is the requirement here. Obviously, if you buy the latest CPU here, you're going to get more than 1 gigahertz. Okay, and then the 2 cores, which is now, if you think about it, having 4 cores as a minimum is not enough anymore. You need at least 6 cores to have a functioning PC. Having 8 or even 10 in my case would be a luxury here. So, but still, so having 2 cores is solely focused on your OS itself. Now, the storage requirement is kind of, from when we started way back in the 90s, when you started using PC, you only need megabytes of space. Now, you need almost 100 gigabytes of storage to be able to run your OS clearly. That's why they're recommending that you create a separate drive, or preferably if you have an SSD drive solely dedicated for your OS, and then a separate drive, maybe a SATA SSD or even a hard disk drive for your other storage purposes. Then the RAM here, obviously it's increasing over time. So 4 gig of RAM used to be enough for day-to-day tasks. Now for an OS you need 4. So meaning if you're going to do multitasking, gaming, or video editing for work and so forth, you're going to need more. So 8 gig may be the minimum standard now, and maybe 16 if you can afford it, or even better, you can get 32 or even 64. And then I think this is interesting regarding the TPM requirement for security purposes here. Now, it's been installed already before, but it's being more prominent now. So to protect the data in terms of the breaches, the hacking that's been happening, left and right with regards to, not just in, I think EA was hacked, and then Microsoft was hacked. So several big tech companies has been affected, with, security concerns. Obviously, Microsoft is a big platform that millions or billions of users are using it. It tends to be vulnerable if you look at it, because they're always finding ways to hack the system and so forth. And then the requirement here for resolution, so not necessarily HD, but getting closer there. And then finally, in terms of graphics, you need to use DirectX 12 version to be able to run your system here. So, and I'm all for it if you need a better requirement, but the question here is, will it provide a better stable working condition, especially for office use, which is commonly used for, what the Windows OS is used for, day-to-day work purposes, whether at school, offices, or even more intensive stuff. And they rely solely on Windows. Obviously, you only have actually 2 platforms. And if you have if you consider Linux, that's 3 platforms. But the more commonly used, whether it's Apple's iOS, or you have Windows for Microsoft here. Anyway, so we'll see when it's released. How's that going to affect for the latest machine? So if you're planning to upgrade your PC or desktop or your laptop, you have to keep in mind if your minimum requirements meet for if you're going to upgrade your OS in the future here. Well, we'll see. We'll see here. But, hopefully, I think they mentioned that they're going to upgrade your, what do you call this? You can upgrade your OS from 10 to 11 by updating it once, if you already have the Windows 10, if you're using currently Windows 10 here. But I have to check on that. I'll update everyone with regards to that one. Anyway, so finally, we have Walmart here. So we mentioned that Walmart is using AI now to help their improve their customers' experience here, which is surprising. Now, obviously, many companies has been relying on AI technology to build their business, improve their business, or help other businesses. So in this case, obviously, Walmart is the big retail giant that we know that sells a lot of products at a very affordable prices, competing with the likes of Amazon. And now they're using AI for better or smarter online grocery experience here. So let's say if you're buying an item and if it's not available, they would be able to predict what they can offer in place of that. Obviously, if you're budget conscious, obviously not just the substitution of product, but the price itself. So according to the article here, techtimes.com, it mentions it can predict consumer behavior and more. So that could be a good thing and a negative thing. Good thing, it can help expedite the process, make it more streamlined in terms of offering better service, better value for customers. And obviously, if I can have a better experience, I would come back and buy more of their products, knowing that it's easily you can easily find replacement for whatever products that you need. On the other hand, is obviously, do they keep track of your information, especially if you're a member of a, in this case, I'm assuming Walmart has a membership here that they keep track of the information that you sell over a course of period, what pattern behavior, so that they can anticipate what would you buy in the next cycle or in the next visit and so forth, which is I'm kind of iffy about it because obviously there's always a trade-off benefit of convenience with the trade-off of selling your information, your buying behavior here. Now, whether everyone agrees with that, to each his own. But anyway, so in this article, they mentioned that they're using artificial intelligence, as I mentioned, to leverage their technology to be able to help consumers whether their preferred product is out of stock so they could find a replacement right away. And obviously the beauty of using AI is the decision making here is instantaneous. So by the time you input what you're looking for, they would obviously course through their database and find if there's an alternative product that they can offer to their customer, which is, rather than just ask someone for help, which takes, seconds or even minutes. In this case, with one press of a button, it automatically links with their inventory, with their product lines, and so forth, and give you the necessary information that one needs in terms of buying, right? And obviously, Walmart is aiming to surpass Amazon as the number one shopping application, not just both in the App Store but as well as in Google Store. So, meaning they're doing everything right, not just going in the online and competing with Amazon, but also trying to expand their reach by investing in India as a possible hub for growing their market and so forth. And what's interesting here, obviously, the with AI, there are limitless applications that one can use, whether in retail, e-commerce, in automotive, and so forth. And obviously, the goal here is to improve the product and their other services here. So they're calling this the Canon AI, which allows smiling employees to enter its vicinities. So obviously, it gives them a better experience, so to speak. And according to the executive vice president of Walmart Global Tech, so it can predict consumer behavior. When they say they can predict your behavior, meaning do they know what you're thinking? Anyway, and not just behavior, but the needs and preferences. Now, I'm okay more in preferences, but being able to anticipate your behavior, I don't know, that's bordering invading your privacy in a sense. It's one thing what I might need or what I might want or prefer, but anticipating your preferences or behavior is another thing altogether. Anyway, so according to the executive VP, Srini Venkatesan, hope I'm pronouncing his name or her name, he mentions that the tech we built uses deep learning AI to consider hundreds of variables from size, type, brand, price, aggregate shoppers data, individual customers' preferences, and current inventory levels. So obviously, it has to take in several factors to be able to come up a viable product to offer to their customers here. And as mentioned, you mentioned it's going to offer it in real time. So when's the next best item available? If you can wait, if not, why not offer you something else? Obviously, to ensure you buy something either way. And I think that's the goal of any business, right? To ensure that they retain their customer loyalty and make sure that their customers continue to buy products in their own platform or in their stores or whatever platform it is, and continue to buy whether it's an affordable or expensive product here. Obviously, the benefit of using AI has goes beyond than just anticipating customer preferences. It can also anticipate inventory problems in terms of the fluctuations of demand of certain product. If it goes up, they can resupply it quickly, and then for other items that's not perform well, they don't have to stock up so much inventories and so forth. And what they're saying here, actually, they mentioned that the AI together with Natotex could solve global food security challenges, which is, if we can remove poverty or even hunger in the world, I think we're all better for it, right? Well, hopefully we can see that in our own lifetime here. Anyway, that concludes our discussion for today. Thanks again for watching. Come back again on Wednesday for more business update. If you enjoy these types of video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. As always, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.